Hello, everybody. Well, we don't have this since I figured out what was going on last night. Why we had the double echo there. We don't have that. We don't um, have that issue tonight. So that's good to know. Anyways, we wait to see if anybody will, give people a chance to show up. I'm going to put some music on, take care of a couple of things, and when I come back, we'll go over what's on tap for tonight. I'll be right back. All right, so let me just take care of one little quick thing here, and then we will go ahead and I thank whoever put in the like already. I thank you for that. You guys will, as always, if you guys can like and share the stream so that we can and all right. So, anyways, if you can like and share the screen, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, also, um, if anything that we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. And yes, I know you guys. For those who weren't here last night, yes, I did just get my hair cut. So hopefully, a lot cooler for the summer. The summer, obviously. So with that, we're coming up on the 3 minute mark here. So we'll kind of talk about what's going on for tonight. So I'm going to go over one article from Bleeding Fool. Let's see. Avi Green giving some critique to Tom King's latest project, in which he's been assigned to do a Wonder Woman book. From what I've seen, Avi has some pretty, well, the headline, as it were, reads, Tom King's new Wonder Woman comic is the worst. So we'll find out why Avi believes that. Also, I might free talk a little bit for a couple minutes on something I was just thinking about in regards to Frank Welker, legendary voice actor. Also, of course, we'll have the wrestling wrap up and this day in each history. So, with all that being said and done, why don't we go ahead and get into article here, right to it here. Alrighty then, so let's get to this. Tom King's new Wonder Woman comic is the worst. Article by Avi Green published earlier today. Okay. I'm late because I was fighting 12 deities, and that takes a little time. Please forgive me, I regret it so. And you didn't see me because I don't know, like, better than you at all the things. Is this news? Oh boy. Oh boy. That I don't regret, but you probably do so. I'm sorry about you doing the regretting. If that helps, if it doesn't, that's not on me. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay, so all right, Polygon drones on with more fluff-coated takes on mainstream superhero fare, and here it's got what to do with Wonder Woman number 800, written by the awful Tom King. And I know people have criticized King for, of course, putting a lot of his ideological biases into his writings. Um, so, and as I said, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to um, comment and/or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. Oh, with that, let's go ahead and continue on here. So this is, I guess, from the Polygon article now. This week's Wonder Woman number 800 marks an anniversary for the DC flagship title. The conclusion of writers Becky Cloonan and Michael W. Conrad's run on the series, writer Tom King and artist Daniel Sampere are the next team taking on the book. And number 800 offered a mighty tease of their plan. A story set decades in the future of the DC Universe featuring Wonder Woman's daughter, Lizzie. Why Lizzie? Well, it's short for Elizabeth. Elizabeth Marston Prince. Okay, interesting. For those of you who don't know why that's interesting, of course, it was William Moulton Marston who was the original creator of Wonder Woman back in 1941, around there. That is, Prince, from long tradition, is Diana's chosen surname, but which Marston did Diana Prince partner up with to bring Lizzie into the world. That's for King and Sampere to know and us to find out when their run begins on September 19th. Now, as I said, Marston's an interesting surname to have, considering that it was William Moulton Marston who was the original creator of Wonder Woman. He's also the guy, aside from, of course, creating Wonder Woman, this is also the guy who invented the lie detector and was involved in a polyamorous affair with his wife and his lover, who both introduced him to Margaret Mead. So, some interesting little tidbits. Anyways, but here in the real world, Elizabeth Marston just happens to be the name of one of the polyamorous trio who invented Wonder Woman in the first place, along, of course, with her husband, William Moulton Marston, and then, let me see, and there was one other lady as well. In fact, Wonder Woman's original design was based on both Marston's lover and his wife. Let's see. Olive Byrne, yeah. So, Elizabeth Marston and Olive Byrne. Those were the two women who were. Elizabeth Marston, of course, was William Marston's wife. Olive Byrne was, his other lover. So the polyamorous trio, as it were. Hey, JR. Hail Lord Xenu and hail Princess Xena. And hail our host Mike. Well, thank you for that. If you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, if if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. So, anyways, here we go. So let's continue on here, and this is back to Avi and his article. Be that as it may, King is bad news, and chances he slighted the Marston legacy are very high. Not to mention, King's likely going to wallow in more, quote, examinations of trauma, unquote, like he did before with the awful heroes in Crisis 5 years ago. We don't need more of that, and future eras are no excuse. So what Avi is saying here is that I guess Tom King has a tendency to make the characters whiners in their stories. Let's see, academic research, and then this from back from the Polygon article. Academic researcher and comics writer William Moulton Marston gets the formal credit for creating Wonder Woman, but historians agree he was, at the very least, inspired by and more likely collaborated with both of his partners, Elizabeth Marston and Olive Byrne. Elizabeth and Olive named their children with William after each other, raised them together, and continued to share their household for nearly 50 years after his death until Olive passed away in 1990. So yes, William Moulton Marston passed away in 1947, and so and I guess Olive and Elizabeth would continue to share the house and raise the family after he was gone. So, which brings us to Lizzie, daughter of Diana. What do we know about her? Not much. King and Sampere's short story seems to set her up as um, the bossy little sister of Batman and Superman's sons. The bossy little sister Batman and Superman's sons never asked for. Not to mention some ominous stuff about the three lassos of fate, an imprisoned king, and, quote, the myth that killed America and birthed a new wonder, unquote. We'll have to wait until September's Wonder Woman #1 for more. Now, doesn't that sound mysterious and fishy? Yep. Basically, for those who know of King's work, know that it only appeals to his little circle of friends. You know, I'm sure this book is really gonna sell, right? Could that be a hint there's anti-American propaganda in the script? That it sounds like Lizzie's setup with a bossy personality also doesn't sound appealing, since there's been quite a few of those already that are very unpleasant and have proved more damaging than engaging for female protagonists. Mm-hmm. Here we are years later, and DC's still making some very insufferable choices for whom to hire as a scriptwriter. When will their publication business be closing? It'd be quite a relief if and when they do. That article went quicker than I thought it would. I thought it'd go a little longer, but anyways, yeah. So I don't know. There are a lot of people who find bossy little sister protagonists to be all that cute or adorable or engaging. Um, but wow, that one went kind of fast. So why don't we? That one went a little faster than I thought it would. So let me see if I can find something here. Okay, so that's just that. Let's see. Anything here? Let me try bounding into comics one more time, and then even though I didn't see a whole lot of news um, earlier, let's see if actually it looks like there's a couple of things that have come out since I checked earlier. All right, well here we go. Here's something here we can probably look at and talk about a bit. And of course, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can, and I do thank you for those who've already liked and shared. If you can do that and help us get some more people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, anything here we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. So let's get on to this article here. Crunchyroll confirms official premiere date for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. Article by Nerdigans Inc. published today. In fact, probably just a little while ago because this article wasn't up when I checked earlier. So they must have just put this up within the last few hours here. So let's see. With less than a week until Jujutsu Kaisen's Crunchyroll have revealed that they have unveiled a deluge of new information regarding Studio Mappa's highly anticipated second season of Jujutsu Kaisen, including, most notably, its official release date. Adapted from Gege Akutami's best-selling manga, the first of the Jujutsu Kaisen second season's 2 consecutive cours, is set to kick off with the adaptation of the Hidden Inventory Premature Death arc. All right. Let's see now. Set in 2006, the Hidden Inventory Premature Death arc follows then second-year Tokyo Jujutsu High School student Satoru Gojo, who is voiced in Japanese by Yuichi Nakamura, who provided the voice of Andy in Undead Unlock, and Suguru Geto, who is voiced in the Japanese by Takahiro Sakurai, who voiced Diablo in That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, as the two are tasked with escorting an important ally, an individual known as the Star Plasma Vessel, to meet with the Jujutsu Society's leader, Master Tengen. However, their mission ends up going expectedly awry when two enemy organizations, Group Q and Time Vessel Association, attempt to prevent this meeting from ever happening. I can guess why Time Vessel Association might be interfering. If, you know. So, anyways, any. Let's see. Per Crunchyroll, the streaming service is exclusive same-day English simulcast of Jujutsu Kaisen's second season will begin today, July 6th. Okay. From there, new episodes will be made available following their respective Japanese premieres. Further, Crunchyroll has also announced that they will be producing dubs in multiple languages, including English, Latin American Spanish, Brazilian, Portuguese, French, German, Italian, Castilian Spanish, and Russian. Premiere dates for these dubs will be announced at a later date. In a statement provided alongside the announcement of Jujutsu Kaisen's premiere date, Crunchyroll's chief content officer, Asa Suehira, acknowledged, quote, fans have been eagerly waiting for the return of this incredible series. And we're thrilled that Crunchyroll will be the exclusive home to season 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen. So there we go with that one. So that one was a pretty quick one as well. But anyways, we had on time here. Okay. 20 minutes. Okay, so not doing too bad on time here. I think got enough time. There was one other article that I noticed that we could probably look at. All right, so this will most likely be the last article we do tonight here. Then we'll move on to some other stuff here. So Bandai Namco sets sortie date for long-awaited Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Freedom theatrical film. Article by Nerdigans Inc. published a little while ago. After more than 2 years since it was officially announced as in production, Bandai Namco's have finally revealed both the first trailer and the theatrical release date for their long-awaited return to the cosmic era, Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Freedom. And what a long wait it has been, as the film was first announced as in development all the way back in May 2006. So the film's been in development for the last 17 years here. Wow. Sheesh. Set to see the return of both Seed series director Mitsuo Fukuda and his late wife, series scriptwriter Chiaki Murasawa, the early days of the film's production would see it plagued with delays. I'm guessing one of those had to do with her passing, I guess. While fans were initially unaware of the specific reasons for these scheduling issues, Mora Soawa unfortunately confirmed that in a 2008 interview with Animage that these delays could be blamed on her falling ill and the result of both an ovarian cyst and uterine fibroid she had developed 3 years earlier, around the time of Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Destiny's conclusion. However, in a spot of optimism, the Seed scribe revealed to the magazine that despite having spent a significant amount of time undergoing various outpatient treatments, she had managed to complete the film's plot. So at least she was able to complete the writing before her passing. So that, give her props for that. Blue Beetle. I've seen some headlines on that, but just I know again it's one of those things with the live action movie thing going on. But let's see. Quote, the plot has been done for quite some time now, unquote. Murasawa explained. Quote, however, after, in brackets here, Mobile Suit Gundam Seed, Destiny, was finished, my health got worse again, and I am still undergoing treatment at the hospital. So that has been a bottleneck. I am really sorry to everyone who is waiting for me. I'm just behind because of that. But it's not that I'm losing the project or that I'm losing the energy to do it. I am sorry. Unquote. Quote, in my mind, in bracket here, the series protagonist Athram Zala, or the series protagonist, Athram Zala, Kira Yamato, and Shin Asuka are all fine, unquote, she teased. Quote, I am sure that we will deliver what we have thought about and created to the best of our ability, unquote. Unfortunately, though, production on the film would slowly move forward. Morosoa's health would only continue to worsen. In 2016, she would sadly succumb to her illness, passing away after suffering an aortic dissection. Um, in light of this heartbreaking development, Bandai Namco chose to respect the scriptwriter's legacy by indefinitely postponing Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Freedom. So now 17 years since they first announced it, and now 7 years since her passing. That was until 2021, which was, of course, 2 years ago, when, as part of the series' 20th anniversary, Gundam Seed Project ignited media production initiative. Bandai Namco confirmed the series' third film had officially been recommended for battle. Quote, Gundam Seed Project Ignited, Project 1, announced the Japanese production company in May 2021. Quote, a theater production is in production. Okay, a little redundant there, but hey, whatever. A feature film, a sequel to the TV series, is currently in production under the direction of Mitsuo Fukuda. Details will be announced in the future, unquote. Following the reveal of the Gundam Seed Project Ignited, Fukuda took to his personal Twitter account to not only confirm that he was still directing Freedom, but also provide insight into his late wife's artistic process in conceiving the film's story. Quote, the movie is a sequel to, in brackets, Mobile Suit Gundam Seed, unbracketed, Destiny, wrote the series co-creator, translated via ANN. Quote, the story was put together by Morosawa. At the time, she was not satisfied with the story initially, and so she revised it countless times. Even after she got sick, she probably wrote well over 100 drafts. Wow. Wow. You have, despite her worsening health, you have to admire the fortitude of this woman. She was sick, she was getting worse, and she still managed to push forward and try to do as much with this as she possibly could. You know, that should be somewhat of an inspiration for a lot of people. You know, quote, with the participation of new people, the script is now complete, unquote. He added, quote, I also participated in the script writing, unquote. Yeah, that's kind of hard, when you got to finish off somebody else's work because they passed. It's good that he was involved in that too, because if anybody would have had a good idea of where she probably would have went with the script, it would have been her husband there, Bakuda. Anyways, as we continue on here, let me just see here. Right. So, following another 2 years of worrying radio silence, July 2nd saw Bandai Namco finally provide fans with their first look at the next chapter of the Seed series in the form of a brief teaser trailer. Centered mainly on returning heroes Kira Yamato and Lacus Klein. The teaser ultimately ends with the confirmation that Mobile Suit Gundam Seed Freedom will finally launch into Japanese theaters on January 26, 2024. Well, about 6 months away. Well, now I guess a little under 7 months. All right, and there we go with that one. So, alrighty then. So, anyways, I think that's all the articles. Now, I do have a little time to go here. So before I do anything else here, something I was thinking about, something that I was thinking about, over the past couple of days here. I was just thinking about, I'm thinking about Scooby Doo. The original Scooby Doo. Scooby Doo, where are you? I was just something that was crossing my mind. I was wondering because I know Frank Welker is still doing Freddy after all these years of that. Now we also know that he did do Fred's dad in the Velma series, the Minnie Kaling series. Of course, we're not necessarily counting that as part of continuity. We're looking at, of course, the original Hanna Barbera continuity of, Scooby Doo, Where Are You? The new Scooby Doo Mysteries, the Scooby and the Scooby Doo Show, Laugh Olympics, the Scooby Doo and Scrappy Doo Show, Scooby Funnies, all that. I was thinking that Frank Welker was the last of the original cast members to be involved with the show, which is true. Now, over the years, of course, back I think it was 1989, of course, Don Messick, who was the original voice of Scooby Doo, he had passed away. We know that a few years ago, Casey Kasem passed away, and I think within the past, I'd say 10 years or so, both Casey Kasem and Heather North passed away. Now, Don Messick was the original voice of Scooby Doo. Casey Kasem was the original voice of Shaggy. And Heather North was actually the girl who replaced Steffiana. Heather North was the girl who replaced Steffiana Christopherson as the voice of Downey. It was Steffiana Christopherson who was the first voice of Daphne, but had ended up quitting the show even before it was broadcast. The fact that she got married and ended up moving to New York, and as Scooby Doo was being recorded here in here in California, they had to replace her. It ended up that that Heather North actually ended up getting the job because she was the roommate to Nicole Jaffe, who was, of course, the longtime voice of Velma, who had, who basically by the time the 80s came around, she had actually somewhat retired from the role, but then came back in the 2011, 2012 to, for some projects. But of all the original, and now Nicole Jaffe passed away as well. So, basically, Frank Welker is the only one left still involved with the Scooby Doo franchise. Now, Steffiana Christopherson and Nicole Jaffe are both still alive. Along with Welker. But of course, as you all know, the Scooby-Doo franchise has moved on from them. But from what I understand, Christopherson is in retirement now. She basically tired to family life and all that. And then Jaffe actually became an agent. She became an agent for other actors and actresses with the occasional, role here and there. So, I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about how Frank Welker, a longtime voice actor, been in a lot of things. He was Toyman and Challenge of the Super Friends. He did a number of voices for G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, including, of course, Wild Bill, Short Fuse, I believe. He did basically all the animals, and much the same in Transformers. He was Megatron, Soundwave. Do you mean the voices of Scooby-Doo in the 70s are still alive? 3 of them are. Okay, yeah. 3 of them are. Of the 6, the 6 original cast members. Okay, so basically Frank Welker, who voiced Freddy, Steffiana Christopherson, and Heather North, who both did Daphne. Essentially, Steffiana recorded the voices, Daphne's voice for the first season, and then she was replaced by Heather North, for the second season when Christopherson married and moved to New York. Nicole Jaffe, who was the original voice of Velma Dinkley. Casey Kasem, late great Casey Kasem. Everybody knows his voice as well. Not just from, of course, his cartoon roles, but also from America's Top 40. He was the original voice of Shaggy, and then Don Messick, another longtime legend who happened to pass away, unfortunately, in 1989. Aside from Scooby-Doo, of course, he was also Ranger Smith and Boo Boo in Yogi Bear, among other. So, seeing Indiana Jones in the news just made me obsessed with how our 80s entertainment is dying off. I've been feeling low. Yeah, I've never been I'm not really keen on the idea of rebooting something for current audiences. Okay? I'm not big on that idea either, JR, because there's, when you take something that was originally produced in a certain era and then you try to remold it and remake it for modern audiences, it ends up like crap. Excuse my French there. A big part of the reason why it ends up being garbage is because what a lot of these people, in their attempt to use these legacy characters to push an agenda to quote unquote normalize it or make it more appealing and acceptable, okay, you miss out on the charm that made the cartoon great in the first place. I myself, I'd rather watch a lot of the old theatrical shorts of of the Looney Tunes than stuff coming out today. Now, granted, there have been some stuff come out like Baby Looney Tunes back in the early 2000s. That was good. They had their charm too. But when you try to take something that was good and try to quote unquote modernize it, a lot of people have that saying about the idea of turning chicken feces into chicken salad, right? Well, in this case, when they try to do this with legacy characters, they turn chicken salad into chicken feces. So, yeah. So, I'm with you on that, JR. I'm not really big on the idea of them doing these remakes either, because you just really miss out on the charm that makes, like even going to even with the Transformers Generation 1, right? That was one a lot of us grew up on, watching the Transformers back in the 80s, as we were just talking about with Frank Welker here. He did a number of voices on the Transformers, including, of course, Megatron, Soundwave, all of Soundwave's cassettes, Skywarp, Trailblazer, Mirage. You could argue that Frank Welker probably did just about half of the characters in Transformers series. Okay, one of the things that I had noticed, with when I look back on it, I remember there was, I've read this before, where there was a real big backlash when they killed off Optimus Prime in Transformers the movie. And when I looked at that, and I looked at how people were reacting, I figured out why. One of the other charming aspects about Transformers, the one that we grew up on, the 80s version, was, I think, for a lot of kids who were coming home from school and watching that cartoon, in many ways, Optimus Prime, and I even talked about this recently on the weekend edition, where we're talking about this too with the Transformers cartoon. But a lot of kids who grew up in that era probably saw Optimus Prime as maybe like a secondary father figure. Because when you see that, when you go back and you watch the show and you watch how he'd interact with not just his Autobots, those who were under his command, his troops, but also with how he would interact with the human characters as well, particularly the younger human characters. Well, when you look at how he would interact with some of the younger Autobots, or the Autobots who were perceived younger, the ones like let's say Bumblebee, maybe Power Glide, who else could have? Sideswipe, Sunstreaker, and even, as I said, even Spike. When you look at some of these younger Autobots and younger humans, and the way he'd interact with them, with, like, as I said, with Spike and with Chip, he did act much like a father figure. And to take that person, or that character, who was probably, for a lot of people growing up in that era, almost like a secondary father figure, and then changing him into whatever agenda they want to push, trying to use that character to push an agenda, would probably infuriate a lot of the older fans. Who grew up with that. So, so yeah. So, as I said, of the six original voice actors from Scooby-Doo, 3 of them are still alive: Frank Welker, Stefania Christopherson, and Nicole Jaffe. And then Frank Welker is the only one who's still involved with the Scooby-Doo franchise. So that was just something I was just thinking about recently, though. But anyways, all right. So now we're getting close to 45-minute mark here. So we're gonna go through the wrestling wrap up real quick. Just go over some stuff real quick. Let's see. On the WWE side of things, one of the things that they did mention today, that it doesn't look like they're planning on putting a title on LA Knight anytime soon. Despite his incredible popularity, but their reasoning is that is why they're not going to put the title on him, put any titles on him. Apparently, at a house show, he attacked Austin Theory, who is the current United States champion, and with the tease that he might go after the United States championship. But they talked about that Knight's popularity, and this is also part of the reason why he didn't win Money in the Bank, even though a lot of people wanted him to, because they weren't planning on putting a title on it. Not that he needs a title, because he's Are you doing anything after? Are you doing anything after wrap up? Just going about my normal business, Jr. I mean, what in terms of the show? Well, of course, I have the wrestling wrap up, and then I have this day in each history, and then we close everything out. So, um, do I have any other articles to read or anything else to talk about? No, not off the top of my head. But so I'm gonna get to the wrap up real quick here, and then do the this day in each history. Then in terms of show, okay, yeah. Well, in terms of the show, again, the wrestling wrap up, this day in each history, and then that'll be it. Anyway, so back to the wrestling wrap up. Now we'll move on to AEW as last night's Dynamite had you had the finals of the women's bracket for the Owen Hart tournament, and in a turnaround last year, Ruby Soho, with the help of other members of the Outcast, defeated Britt Baker. Britt Baker, who defeated Ruby Soho in the finals last year of the tournament to become the first winner of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, the women's. This year, of course, Ruby Soho advances to where she'll be facing Sky Blue this Saturday. Of course, Willow Nightingale, coming off of her loss to Julia in New Japan of the women of New Japan's women's strong open weight title, will be taking on current Ring of Honor women's world champion Athena. The other bracket. The winners of those respective matches will be taking each other on in the finals. Also, in the Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament, they had two quarterfinals. So the winner of this tournament will be getting a title shot at FTR sometime down the road. Darby Allin and AEW International Champion Orange Cassidy defeated Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, who, of course, are former AEW World Tag Team Champions, known as a team at the time as Swerve and Our Glory. And then Adam Cole and MJF defeated Matt Menard of the Jericho Appreciation Society and The Butcher. And the main event from last night's show saw Kenny Omega defeat Wheeler Yuta. And after the match, of course, the rest of the Blackpool Combat Club came out to attack Kenny Omega, only for the other three members of the Elite, Adam Page and the Young Bucks, to come down the ring to help stave off the Blackpool Combat Club and Konosuke Takeshita's attack on. Only for, from what I understand, after that, for Dark Order to come out and intervene with that. So, and one other little note from New Japan, of course, early this morning, last night, well, I guess yesterday, more likely, Eddie Kingston defeated Kenta to become the new men's strong open weight champion in Japan. So you'll be seeing him carrying around that title in both Ring of Honor and now, of course, tonight Ring of Honor had its Honor Club and Impact Wrestling had its show on tonight. So let's take a quick peek at those. Tell you what's on what if you haven't watched already, what you can look forward to. Tonight, as soon as I find them, of course. So on tonight, and I'll probably talk more about these on Monday, the results. But on tonight's Honor Club, Main event, you'll see Layla Hirsch team with the Kingdom of Mike Bennett and Matt Taven take on the Infantry and Trish Adora in a six-man tag. In another six-man tag match, in a six-man mayhem match, you'll have Shane Taylor taking on Brian Cage, taking on Willie Mack, taking on Dalton Castle, taking on Trent Seven, taking on Josh Woods. So all the Vanessa Craven taking on Dynamite tonight, or Diamante rather. Mark Briscoe in a three-way match. Mark Briscoe takes on Tony Nese and JD Drake. Big Bill and Lee Moriarty will be taking on the Boys in a tag team match. Athena in a proving ground match will defend the opportunity to face Athena at a later date against Saliza Sparks. And another six-man tag match, the Righteous and Stu Grayson will be taking on McCray Martin, Rip Impeach, and Rip Impact, and Zach Patterson. In a tag team match, the Gates of Agony with Prince Down in the corner takes on Action Andretti and Darius Martin. Christopher Daniels takes on Daniel Garcia, and Gringo Loco takes on Commander, who is basically coming off of his Ring of Honor title shot on last Friday's Rampage. And on tonight's Impact matches, as they're 1 week away from Slammiversary, as that'll be next weekend. The main event will see the Motor City Machine Guns taking on Nick Aldis and Leo Rush. The Good Hands will be taking on PCO in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Frankie Kazarian once again takes on Eddie Edwards. Jonathan Gresham takes on Angels of the Design. Let's see. Champagne Singh and Shera take on Sammy Callahan and Rich Swan. And then in the opening match, Courtney Rush of the Death Dolls takes on Giselle Shaw. So that's all going down tonight on Impact. And then tomorrow night on Rampage, as of course we won't be doing any news tomorrow night, but on Rampage tomorrow night, let's see, look forward to, you'll have the other two quarterfinal matches in the Blind Eliminatory Tag Tournament, as Jeff Jarrett and Matt Hardy will actually be taking on the Jericho Appreciation Society duo of Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara. Matt Sydal will be teaming with Trent Beretta to take on Brian Cage and Big Bill in the other Blind Eliminatory Tag title quarterfinal. Hikaru Shida will be taking on Marina Shafir, and then the Elite of Adam Page, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson take on the Dark Order of Evil Uno and Alex Reynolds and John Silver. Now, thing is that they've been kind of slowly teasing this for a while, and it's kind of a very slow matter. They've been turning Dark Order heel again. So that's all coming up tomorrow night. Let me check one more thing here real quick. I know we've been going kind of back forth here. Because as I said, on this Saturday's Collision, one of the matches that will be on this Saturday's Collision from Regina, Saskatchewan, at the Brandt Center in Regina, Saskatchewan. You actually will have 3 semifinal matches. So the first of the 2 semifinal match women in the women's bracket, as I mentioned earlier, it's Ring of Honor World Women's Champion Athena taking on former Strong and New Japan Strong Women's Champion Willow Nightingale, and then the 2 semifinals for the men's bracket will be taking place as CM Punk will be taking on Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs taking on Ricky Starks, both igniting old feuds that are being played out once again. And in the main event, we'll see for the AEW World. The main event we'll see an eliminator match in the AEW World Tag Team Title, which is much like the Proving Ground match on Honor. This is for the opportunity. If the challengers win this match, they will be guaranteed a title shot at a later date. If they lose, then they fall down the rankings, as FTR will be defending that title shot against Bullet Club Gold of Juice Robinson and Jay White. So there we go with the wrestling wrap up. So now we're going to now, of course, I'm going to go ahead and finish the show off with this day in each history. So let me just see 2021, 1998, 1998, and 2013. Okay, so first off, we're going to head back 25 years ago today to 1998. And on this date, 25 years ago today, WCW held its Monday Nitro event. Monday Nitro event from the Georgia Dome in Atlanta. The announced main event for later in the night was Goldberg defeating Hollywood Hogan for the WCW World Heavyweight. This was the go home Nitro before Bash at the Beach this year, in which Hogan teamed with Dennis Rodman to take on Diamond Dallas Page and Karl Malone. Other matches included Lex Luger and Sting defeating Kidman and Sick Boy. DDP with Karl Malone in his corner defeating Jim Neidhart. Goldberg, prior to his winning the World Heavyweight title, would retain the United States title over Scott Hall. Chris Jericho retained the World Cruiserweight Championship heading into his match with Rey Mysterio that following Sunday at Beach Blast. And Booker T retained the television championship over Dean Malenko to open up the show. So that happened on this date 25 years ago. And 1998 is just so nice that we're going to hit it twice. As also on this date 25 years ago, the passing of a legend in Hollywood, December 11. Roy Rogers would pass away on this date at the age of 86. Longtime Western star. You know, he also had the Roy Rogers Show, known as the King of the Cowboys. As along with his wife Dale Evans, they would host the Roy Rogers Show. Now, also in the role of anime / children's entertainment, he was a narrator for the Pecos Bill segment of Melody Time, live action / animated program in the late 40s there. But on this date, 25 years ago today, he would pass away at the age of 86. So now, moving on to the next piece of niche history as we move ahead to 2013, 10 years ago today. And on this date, 10 years ago today, Warner Brothers Japan's, along with other companies, would release Gintama the movie, the final chapter, Be Forever Yorozuya. This movie was co-produced with Warner Brothers Japan, as well as Bandai, Dentsu, TV Tokyo, Aniplex, Shueisha, and Sunrise. This movie would premiere 10 years ago on this date. Gintama, the movie, the final chapter, Be Forever Yorozuya. And finally, the last piece of niche history will do happened just 2 years ago. As on this date, 2 years ago, issue 110 of Batman, Volume 3. Batman Volume 3, issue number 110, went on sale on this day from DC 2 years ago. Now, mind you, this had become a bi-weekly series. This is why you had so much, because when I looked into this, apparently this book started up in 2016. But they were running it bi-weekly. So That was interesting in of itself. So with that, we can now kind of wind down here. I thank everybody for being here tonight. Don't forget, of course, tomorrow night, Rick Piper will be joining me as my co-host as we look back to November of 1939. We'll be looking over, books that went on sale from MLJ Enterprises Incorporated, known now as Archie Comics. We'll be specifically focusing in on Pep Comic Volume 1, Number 1. We'll be featuring such heroes as The Shield, The Comet, as well as Sergeant Boyle, Queen of Diamonds, and Fu Chang. Hope to see everybody back here tomorrow and every night. Bye!